Every now and again, a game comes around that... Wait, hold on. We don't need this today. Come on. Why won't you turn off? Tech support!
Here.
Can we do something about this?
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
What?
Have you verified your device is plugged in and powered on?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, here, let me take a look. There you go.
Thanks. Every now and again, a game will get some coverage and it completely catches my interest. Some small coverage will come out, and then suddenly the other gentlemen and ladies I watch on YouTube will just abruptly stop talking about it. Oddly enough, this usually happens around the game's release date, and because I'm an inattentive aspie of the highest caliber, I will completely forget about the game until oftentimes a year or more later, and I have a couple theories about this. One theory. I have one theory about this. My theory is that just like the rest of us, they get excited, they make all their little videos based on incredibly limited exposure, usually exposure in a heavily controlled environment. Then, right about the time you would usually expect them to, they get some alone time where they are in control of said environment. And then... silence. And I think I know why, if you see where I'm going with this. And if you don't, why don't you let me show you? As any true-born son of Ireland, which I most definitely am not, will tell you, The Binding of Isaac, in all its flash game running like a soggy dick glory, had changed the face of a genre. I'm not gonna call it roguelite because it's a stupid fucking name that ignores the fact that they really only have most often one or two things in common with rogue and roguelikes. But to be perfectly fair, until someone with a greater mind for succinct thinking comes along and gives a better name to procedurally generated bullet hell arena mazes with semi-permadeath and an overarching total progress, I guess I will have to call them roguelites. Moronic digression aside, Paranautical Activity released in 2014, riding pretty heavily on the 3-year wave that Isaac had left in its wake. Waves. Wakes. Sharks. Ocean humor. Ocean man, take me. Doom wouldn't come to rescue arena shooters for like 2 more years or so, and we were still stapling all of our hopes and dreams of the style's return to cat's asses of independent developers. So, only when it went on sale just a short while ago did I recall that I was very interested in this title and was oddly reminded of how everybody suddenly went silent around it, and I decided, let's go check it out. And now, I totally wish I hadn't. The game features no true fundamental flaws beyond that of the soundtrack, but we'll get to that in its due time. It is, for all intents and purposes, the insane word salad that I named earlier, relying on procedurally generated rooms, semi-randomized items, and focusing heavily on the arena combat. You can hold 2 weapons, one which requires special ammo, and you can use bombs. Items grant abilities or modify existing stats and other abilities, and you can collect one-time use power-ups which grant massive boons that make them practically invaluable. This is Isaac. This is Enter the Gungeon. So why do I have some 40 deaths in the span of 2 hours and absolutely no desire to continue playing this game? Quite simply, as competently put together as it is, not a whole lot of thought went into piecing it together. First and foremost, the soundtrack that I promised. You see, it's a callback at this point to like 45 seconds ago. It's a generic techno style that fits neither the visual aesthetic, the pace of the game, nor the atmosphere they have tried to craft. On top of that, the tracks are incredibly short, and rather than looping, they simply stop pause, and move on to the next track in the list. Not really good when the concept of pacing is brought into the mixture. Second is enemy and level design. Yes, I lumped them together like a retard. Floors are procedurally generated, but as is custom, each floor is built from predetermined pools of rooms. And you kind of have to memorize each room, as they love to throw in this one room that if you do anything other than strafe right immediately after the door closes, you take 4 hits of damage before you know where it's coming from. Aside from the slightly different layouts, every room I have seen across all floors I have seen looked exactly the same, save for the one time I found a room with lava and one room that had a pit I could jump into to redo the entire floor and get more items. Your basic enemies have simplistic designs, so they're not too terrible. Most bosses, however, that try to do a little more end up being pug-fugly Lego block rejects. The worst of the enemy designs I encountered are these flaming skulls that like to chase you down. The game loves spawning them on top of and behind you as soon as you enter the room, forcing you to take 7 hits before you know where you're being attacked from. And in one case, you have a snail boss who runs you down, and I have yet to find a single item or strategy that allows you to dodge the attack. For a fast-paced arena shooter, the game goes to painstaking lengths to force you to take damage. And the items aren't even that good. I had one run where 4 items in a row reduced my speed, and 3 other items in that run reduced my health. An item that lets you damage enemies by jumping on them removes the double jump you will probably see a lot of, since a specific boss drops it, and all bosses drop their boss item. And they love giving you these gimping items. It's not like Binding of Isaac, where you end up with a run that gives you barely any benefit at all, but there's still upgrades no matter how minor. No, sir! This game will give you the world's smallest upgrade with the world's largest drawback, and then nullify that upgrade the second you walk into the next room by shoving 8 rushdown enemies on you the second you enter the doorway. And now, I know why everyone just kind of stopped talking about the game the second it hit the store. Its pixel visual design doesn't change or get better throughout the game, it's just fucking ugly. The procedural generation is completely worthless as you're having to memorize rooms and all rooms look the same anyway. The soundtrack is a rotting bag of dicks, the likes of which hasn't been seen in a millennia. The items inspire more dread than hope, and enemies feature some of the laziest designs when it comes to combat that I have seen in a very, 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 very long time. Simply put, the reason the folk I followed simply stopped talking about it the second they got their hands on it on their own controlled environments is because it's pretty much garbage, and after months of helping drive the hype train and all their excitement, they can't bring themselves to say something bad about it, and that's not to throw shade at them. I'm not going to shame them for that. After all, most of the people I watch are entertainers first and foremost. They don't want to fill their shows with the negativity and straight butchery that I enjoy piling into mine. And that, children of my insane sciences, is my theory. When that shit happens, you know that they know that they've kind of made a mistake, and Paranautical activity is fun for about 2 fucking hours before I want to blow my own goddamn brains out. However, it does grant me the chance to finally murder a fucking whale. Terrifying sons of bitches. Nuke 'em all. -50 out of purple needs more battle sluts. I'm the Necroswanson, and you can go fuck yourselves.